All right, my pleasure once again to welcome back to the show WKMG News 6 Sports Director Jamie Seh, also the biggest Springsteen fan in the world.
I don't know if that's true. There are a lot of big fans, but I appreciate you digging out the Bruce Springsteen song for me. I appreciate that very much.
Oh, no problem. We like to cater to what's important to people here. That's
This
kind
is this is the glory days, isn't it? When
of,
football season starts.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah. We got lots of football to talk about. You got any Springsteen activity on the horizon?
I do actually. So he's on tour right now. I saw him when he played Tampa and Orlando in the winter. He had a concert that was scheduled in my hometown of Albany, New York, that was postponed back in March. That's coming up. The rescheduling is in mid-September. So I'll be hitting Springsteen in Albany in mid-September. So I can't wait.
Yeah, that's good. That's going to be awesome. So, speaking of catering to what's important to people, we're going to let you talk about your number one topic first. The
The
Buffalo
Buffalo
Bills.
Bills. Oh,
Yeah, of course.
thank you.
So the big question is this the year?
You know, I'm going to say yes because I have faith in my team. And also another reason why is because not a lot of people are talking about them compared to last year. Last year they entered the season as the favorite, and there's pressure that goes along with that. Players hear the outside noise, whether they try and tune it out, but they hear the outside noise and the chatter. It has been so long since the Buffalo Bills franchise came into a season as the favorite. I mean, even in the early 90s, yeah, they may have been the favorite to win the AFC or their division, but they weren't the favorite to win the Super Bowl. And those were the expectations last year. I think the pressure's off because more people are talking about the New York Jets because of Aaron Rodgers in their division, and the Miami Dolphins because of, the moves the Dolphins have made. Now, Jalen Ramsey's hurt. That was huge. But, I think more people are talking about those teams than the Buffalo Bills. So the pressure's kind of off. I think people are going to talk about the Chiefs and the Bengals. So I think that will help things. I think the key to the Buffalo Bills is staying healthy. This was a team that had a lot of adversity last year. Josh Allen hurts his elbow against the Jets. I think it was in November or late October, and that kind of derailed him a little bit, and he finally got back on track in December. And then, they couldn't do anything against the Bengals in the playoffs, but they were met with a ton of adversity from, having to move a game and play a game in Detroit because of the snow out, to Damar Hamlin. I think that was an unbelievable story and a testament to who Damar Hamlin is and what the Buffalo Bills franchise is about. But I think it was probably exhausting for the whole franchise. That moment in time, so exhausting. So a lot of things went against them despite their talent, and they lost Von Miller. As long as they stay healthy, why can't it be the Buffalo Bills? I think Gabe Davis is going to have a huge year.
Me too.
I think Stephon Diggs will have a big year. I think there's been some things going on in the offseason. Diggs wasn't happy. I think they'll get that corrected. Ken Dorsey is coming back in year 2 as the offensive coordinator. I think that'll help. So yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting though, because their defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier, kind of briefly stepped in retirement. So Sean McDermott, the head coach, is going to be the DC, but so that'll be interesting. But yeah, I think the Bills are going to be healthier. They get Micah Hyde back. Hyde got injured week 1. So yes, this is going to be it. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills, but they have a really tough schedule.
Yes.
I don't know it offhand right now, but it's a really, really tough schedule. So,
and that's that kind of comes with the territory with the kind of team they are.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. So you talked about Josh Allen's injury. Does he dial it back a little bit in the running game? I mean, I don't know that he can sustain a long career.
I'm not sure. Oh, I don't think so.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't think so. And he got injured on that play. I don't think he was escaping the pocket intending to run. I think he was on the verge of getting sacked, and maybe he got rid. I don't recall the play. I know it was against the Jets, but I don't believe he was out of the pocket intending to run when he got banged up. He hasn't been banged up when he's run the ball. I don't think so, because I think
Okay.
he's a guy that can't help himself. He is somewhat of a risk taker to try and do anything he can to get those extra yardage. So I think, the message again this year might be, hey, calm it down. And I think that was happening at the beginning of last season.
Mhm.
And then when things weren't going their way, okay, it's time for me to play hero. And he did. So, but I think when the moment calls for it in his mind, he's going to take off and run. And he's going to take what the defense gives him.
Okay.
And if he sees a lane, he's going to take off because he's so difficult to take down. And again, like, he really hasn't gotten banged up when he's run. The elbow thing was kind of a freak play. Like, I think he got hit on the arm. I can't really visualize the play. So no. And, it's like the Bills lost one of their running backs for the season, Naheem Hines. So, they're a little short in the running game again, and it wasn't a priority last year. So, he might be the big runner again for the Bills this year.
Okay. Well, that'll be interesting to see how that evolves. And I know it's kind of hard to change the way a guy plays that
Yeah.
when it makes him successful.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a balancing act, I'm sure.
But I think he is also a quarterback who really uh, dives into his craft and puts a lot of work in the off season and tries to get better. Last year it seemed like he was trying new things. The way he threw the ball, like he would try and sidearm things a little bit, like Patrick Mahomes does. And his progress from year one to year two, and then year two to year three was really significant because of the strides that he made. So, people are going to tell him, stop running, stop running. So perhaps he does kind of work on that, continue to work on his accuracy and everything like that. So, we'll see what little new nuances he brings to the game. But like, I have no doubt he's going to come back as a better quarterback,
There
which
you
makes
go.
me
Yeah.
happy.
So, you mentioned health, obviously, and then the Miami Dolphins,
Mhm.
an improved team in the division, but are they only going to go as far as to his health?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Skylar Thompson and Mike White are their backups. Good luck. I mean, Tua has great talent around him. How's the offensive line going to protect him? How did they shore up that offensive line so what happened to him last year doesn't happen again? And yeah, I think it all rides on Tua being able to get rid of the ball and getting it to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, for sure. But if he gets banged up again, I don't think he'll enter the season with any hesitancy. It's from what it sounds like, he's not super worried, although he did consider walking away, I think he said in one press conference. But I think he'll go out, and not really worry about the concussion until maybe he gets hit. So we'll see. But yeah, I think the Miami Dolphins go as Tua goes.
Mhm.
Is he the best quarterback in the AFC? Certainly not. He's one of the better ones though. Like, because when the Dolphins were run, I think they won like, I don't know, 7 in a row or something like that. Some crazy run that they made in September and October up until when was it? Like, I don't remember, but they had a really good run, and a lot of it was him. He was playing great, and he was getting the ball to receivers who are very difficult to cover and stop. So, but yeah, it's on Tua.
Yeah.
And Miami's defense is going to be outstanding.
Yeah, that gives
Yeah.
them a little bit of grace, but yeah, and of course the Dolphins have to make sure they take care of their quarterback and not let him go back out
Yeah.
when he's not able to go out.
Yeah.
So that was certainly a big storyline
Yeah.
last year.
It's
Uh,
interesting. It's interesting that the Dolphins missed out on Dalvin Cook, because I
mhm,
thought that was going to happen,
yeah,
and that would have, really added a huge wrinkle to what they were going to do. But so that's interesting that, their running game could have taken a huge leap, and they missed out on him.
yeah,
So
yeah. That is a big whiff as far as that
yeah.
goes. All right, so let's look down I-4 at the Tampa Bay Bucks. The Tom Brady era is over.
Yes.
And welcome Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield, he's got but he's got that confidence. He's got the swagger. He's no Tom Brady. He's no Tom Brady. The Buccaneers know this. They didn't make a ton of moves, in the offseason to really build, like they did around Tom Brady, so I think they fully are aware that this is a rebuild. They bring in Baker Mayfield, because somebody has to quarterback the team. And also, they are giving Kyle Trask a chance to show that he could be the starter. I don't think he has, though. It's only been one preseason game. And he was playing behind an offensive line of I think a lot of third teamers, because a lot of the first teamers didn't play for the Buccaneers in the game. And he was okay, but he's got to be ready to get rid of the ball quicker, make decisions quicker. So I don't know. But yeah, Baker Mayfield, he's got some swagger, got the Browns to the playoffs, but yeah, no, he's no Tom Brady. And the Buccaneers, lose Russell Gage, the wide receiver, likely for the season, this week in practice. So they still have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, but yeah, I think the Bucs, are pretty settled into a rebuild, although you never know, because it's not like their division is outstanding, and there's question marks with the Saints.
Yeah.
So we'll see what the Saints can do. But it seems like that division will go through New Orleans. Maybe the Buccaneers will surprise people. Maybe Baker's going to be awesome. But I'm not really sure. But he's not Tom Brady for sure.
Yeah. Their highlight of the season might be when they wear their creamsicle uniforms.
I know. It's sad, because it's been such a nice atmosphere. Like, it's been nice to see the Buccaneers be so relevant and Buccaneers fans be so excited about their team, because like, since I've gotten here, I got here in 2010, and the Bucs were down for a long, long time, but their fans stayed true to them. And then it's like you get this gift of Tom Brady signing with them, out of all the teams, Brady picks the Buccaneers. So, it was a nice run. It was fun. It was exciting, so I hope they win more games than what's to be expected this season. And, and who knows about Baker Mayfield?
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
He's got moxie. He's got a chip on his shoulder. I'm not sure how much that translates in the NFL game, but we'll see.
I would never question his toughness.
Right, exactly.
He definitely brings that to the table. Well,
Yeah.
talk about excitement brewing. So up the road in Jacksonville, the Jags had a great second half last year, and Trevor Lawrence is making that climb, and they are kind of a trendy pick for a lot of people.
For sure. And again, you're in a division that's not that good. Really, like, you've got Tennessee, who, I think their quarterback, what is it? Is it Desmond Ridder? Is that their quarterback? It's a quarterback, or is it Malik Willis?
Tannehill.
Tannehill's back. Okay.
Yeah,
Tannehill is back.
Yeah.
Okay. I get a little confused sometimes, but yeah, so the Titans have Derrick Henry, this, but no, I think the Jags can win that division. And then with the Jags, you add in Calvin Ridley, who could be a game-changing wide receiver. Trevor Lawrence grew a lot under Doug Peterson last year, and things just started to click, November into December. And then, they win a playoff game for the first time in a while, since Blake Bortles, I guess.
Yeah.
And, so yeah, like there's no reason why the Jags can't make the playoffs again. I think there's going to be a confidence, they know what to expect from the coaching staff, the fact that they're going into year 2 and they're working with a coaching staff that they trust. So yeah, I'm thrilled for Jags fans too. And, Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be really, really good. And maybe this is the year where he brings it together. This is year 3 when NFL quarterbacks are supposed to make that leap. So maybe this happens for him, but Calvin Ridley's special, he's super fast. He could be a problem for defenses.
Yeah. I think it's a great testimony to Doug Peterson as well, because, it was just a mitigated disaster in Urban Meyer, and how quickly he pulled them out of that pit.
He
quite
did.
Amazing.
He did, yeah. And he did it by building trust. He seems to be like a player's coach, and that's I think his players in Philadelphia really like that too. And, what Peterson kind of did the same thing with the Eagles because, he comes in and did he replace the UCLA coach?
Chip Kelly.
Chip Kelly. Like,
Yeah.
it was a disaster under Chip Kelly. And then I
Yes.
think Peterson replaced him, and bada bing, they go to the Super Bowl. So, I'm not saying the Jags go to the Super Bowl, but Doug Peterson has this knack to gain the trust of his players, so he takes over, after the disaster that was Urban Meyer, and gets these guys believing, and they're on the same page. Like, I think there is definitely a confidence in the Jags. And I think Trevor Lawrence is a really good leader, I mean, through it all, like, just the expectations, that he had, that were on him when he came into the league. And, he never faltered in his belief in a process, I guess, in a growth process. So I'm excited to see what he can do. And I hope he becomes an outstanding quarterback. Because I think he's a really good leader. He's mature and, accountable, holds himself accountable.
Yeah, and Peterson bringing that Super Bowl ring certainly brings the credibility. That does not hurt it.
Definitely.
All right, let's talk some college football.
Okay.
UCF, a monumental season about to embark on as they go into the Big 12. Think about this. If the Pac-12 would have imploded a year earlier, they might still be on the outside looking in.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, so the timing was perfect for UCF. They can thank Texas and Oklahoma for deciding to leave for the SEC when they did.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Maybe not. Maybe the ACC picks up UCF because they see the Big 12 becoming adding however many teams, becoming a 16-team league or whatever would have happened had things not fallen into place. I mean, UCF's still really attractive, because of Orlando, because of the enrollment, because of the success they've had, because of the branding, and all that. So maybe UCF would have landed in the ACC. Geographically, it makes sense in the ACC. And, we know that the ACC entertains some teams that, when the last week or so, that normally maybe they wouldn't have. So maybe that happens. But yeah, no, the timing was right for Texas and Oklahoma to leave. And I'm really excited for UCF and the moment that they're going to have, and the fact they're part of the Big 12, a conference that's on the rise, a conference with momentum.
Yes.
They might not get the same payout as an ACC team, but with Brett Yormark as commissioner, it feels like the Big 12 is gaining more and more momentum and power. So I think, and becoming a more major player. But really, at the end of the day, it's all about how do they compete with everybody else? What's the Big 12 going to put out there? And I hope a Big 12 team other than Texas and Oklahoma makes noise. Like what TCU did last year was great.
Yes.
I wish they had put more points up against Georgia, had a better showing. Kansas State might be really good. Oklahoma State might be really good. So I hope it's and who knows? I mean, maybe UCF, I think it's going to be tough for them. I do. Yeah, it's a tough schedule.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's the toughest schedule they've ever had. With 5 conference road games and then the trip to Boise State at the beginning of the season. It's really tough. So, I think the expectations have to be tempered a little bit, but I hope they finish with a winning record. And if they finish with a winning record, I think fans have to be happy with that, unless there's a game that they give away, where it's a heartbreaker or something like that. But yeah, no, I mean, I just hope somebody other than Texas and Oklahoma emerges as a really powerful team, because you never know. I mean, TCU proved last year, you never know what can happen. Cincinnati, the year before, UCF in 2017, you never know until the season starts and they're playing games. Yeah. But I'm just so excited for the UCF fan base and the UCF alums that have waited for this moment for so long. Like, it's arrived. Like, it's really special. It's really special. Oh no. Like, I can't wait till they kick off at Oklahoma. Yeah. It's going to be tough.
The
but
Dylan
it's,
Gabriel Bowl, yes.
yeah, the Dylan Gabriel Bowl, but it's there. It's like that stadium is going to be crazy. It's homecoming for Oklahoma. They get to sense all that. Like, I hope UCF sends fans over there, and I'm sure they will. I'm so excited for the football team to experience that. I'm excited for UCF fans who will travel. So the bounce house is fantastic and it's awesome. And I'm just so looking forward to the fans and the football team experiencing those moments on a Big 12 campus. So we all know what it's like and what can be brought to UCF every single game, sell out the bounce house every single game and
Yeah.
bring it every single moment.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a great thing. I mean, I just get goosebumps thinking about what's happening. It just is off the charts exciting.
Yeah, I'm sure for like UCF fans, it's still like a pinch me moment. It's like, can you believe we're in the Big 12? We waited so long for this. You guys were supposed to be in a power conference with the Big East, and that fell through. And you get the one opportunity with the AAC, into the Fiesta Bowl there, and it's just like, the amount of ribbing that UCF has taken throughout the years, and the fact that, a couple of years ago, the Big 12 didn't want to touch UCF. Oh, we're fine at this. We're fine at this number, this. Well, now the conference needed them, and they're an asset to the conference. You say that UCF could have been on the outside looking in. Well, that would have been dumb.
Yeah.
Like if they looked at it that way, because of everything that UCF brings to the table. Like, this is a program that has not topped out, it's just, the trajectory is still going up and up for all the sports. Yeah, it's going to be tough, like with recruiting and stuff, but I mean, being in Orlando, being an innovative university like it is, the way they've branded themselves, I mean, who wouldn't want to come to UCF and compete for them? Being in Florida, like, I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome.
Well, let's talk about on the field. So
Okay.
Gus Malzahn has elected to turn over the play calling to former UCF great Darren Henshaw. I think this is a tremendous move, and this will probably benefit John Rice Plumlee to a great extent.
Yeah, it's definitely a significant move because I think Gus Malzahn loves the offense. I think he loves calling the plays with the offense, but I think he realized at this moment, with UCF going to the Big 12 with all the other things that impact the college football program, he had to give something up, and he gave up the play calling, because Gus now has to worry about recruiting transfers and the transfer portal and recruiting in general and name, image, and likeness and keeping players happy and being the CEO. And now he's got Darren Henshaw, who's done really well in his career as a coordinator. I'm looking for, I don't know how the offense is going to look, but you're right. It does benefit John Rice Plumlee. Henshaw quarterbacked UCF. John Rice Plumlee is quarterbacking UCF. And, I think they'll cater to Plumlee's strengths. I would think, but, I really don't know a lot about Henshaw's offense until we see it in the first couple weeks of the season. But there's certainly a lot of playmakers around Plumlee too.
Yes.
I mean, their running backs are loaded, and they've got some really talented receivers. And I think, one of the questions will be the offensive line, and can they match up against the Big 12? The Big 12 defenses, do they have enough depth, enough physicality to take that, every single play week by week. But I think, but I couldn't tell you, I have no idea what Henshaw's going to throw out there. Yeah. So I like it. I like the mystery of it.
Yeah, I know the one thing from his past, he does like to throw the ball down the field. And I think the other thing, the thing I hear most is the thing that he is working on with John Rice is the footwork as a passer.
Okay. Yeah. And that's huge. Like, so Plumlee can get a little bit more on the ball when he throws it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing John Rice's growth. I mean, because to have that quarterbacks coach and the offensive coordinator to work with him, you're absolutely right. I mean, just the time that Henshaw and he will have working together. And I think, Plumlee's got such a great attitude that he'll take whatever coaching he can get.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And then they have a new coordinator on the defensive side, Addison Williams. You know, coaching defense in college is tough. I
Yeah.
mean, I think much harder than the NFL because
Yeah.
of all the changes you have to make and all the high power offenses you face.
Mhm.
Uh, it's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah, I mean, and in like every team is different. Every team runs something totally unique, and you have to have the personnel for it. You've got to get to know your personnel and who you can put in that position. And if somebody goes down, well, who's best equipped? But yeah, and it's going to be tough because it's like you got to score. The Big 12 scores points.
Yes.
TCU scored a lot of points. Kansas put a lot of points on the board. So it's like, yeah, these teams put up points and you've got to stop them or you've got to keep up with them. So yeah, and Addison Williams has been through the program before. So and he's got some good veteran leadership, and the defense, I think they're angry. I think if they play angry, I think UCF feels like they're being underestimated as they go into the Big 12. I mean, Josh Seliskar said at Big 12 Media Days that, he feels like he has a lot to prove, that nobody's really giving them a chance. And, this is the moment. But like Seliskar could be he was great last year, and I'm glad he's back.
And of course, John Walker is said to
Oh
be
yeah.
a beast.
Well, that's the crazy thing. It's like, Gus was talking about the young players that can come in and make an impact. And John Walker is certainly one of them. He's a true freshman. He's gigantic. He's gigantic. And then like you've got Nakai Martinez, who's, another year into the program. He was out of Apopka. Like, I'm excited to see what he can do in the secondary too. I mean, they've got some young guys, and this is going to be their moment because, you need depth. You need a lot of guys to go out there and compete.
Yeah, no question about that. And interesting, you mentioned the ACC earlier, so we'll talk a little bit about FSU. Mike Norvell, he's done a really nice job getting that program pointed back in the upward direction after they hit rock bottom.
Well, yeah, exactly. And it's funny. It's like that's what one successful season does. It's like because last year was year 3 for him, I think.
Yes.
It was his 3rd year. But after years 1 and 2, people were ready to get him out of there. But, it takes patience. It takes guys staying in your system, and Jordan Travis had a really special year last year and is playing with so much more confidence than he's ever had before. And it'll be interesting though, game 1 against LSU. And how they come out of that game, whether they win or lose, how do they respond from that game? Because it's so big, there's so much hype, and it's like, if they lose, everything's not over. If they win, everything's not over. You still have to go out and, win the ACC. But I mean, talk about being tested from the get-go.
Yeah.
But no, I think FSU will be very good. There's clearly experience. They got a ton of guys back, and Jared Verse is a game changer if they stay healthy. FSU had a better offensive line last year, and that was a key because their offensive lines have been a weak spot since I think probably Jimbo's last year.
Yeah.
And they've never been able to stay healthy. They've never had enough depth. But last year they were really good with that offensive line. So
yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. And Clemson's not the same Clemson.
No, no, it's not. It's not. But you never know. I mean, they got a great coach. You never know what's going to happen. You never know. But yeah, I mean, the path should be set for Florida State, to potentially make that playoff. And I don't think their hopes are going to be done if they lose to LSU. Depends on how that game goes.
Yeah.
But
good that game's early, right?
yeah, exactly. They could beat LSU. I don't know if you heard about it, but LSU just had a big fight in practice this week or over the weekend or something like that. So maybe things aren't all that great in Baton Rouge at the moment. So maybe FSU will get them at the right time again, like they did last year.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Brian Kelly have a bad season there. But
I mean,
that'd be okay. Just real briefly on Miami, of course, we hear every year after they play their first 2 games out of conference, oh, the U is back. That's kind of like the most statement that happens every year, and then the U is not back.
No, and then things fizzle in October or November. It's always feels like, okay, late October is the end of hurricane season,
Yeah.
in November. All right, 5-7 last year. They've got to be better. I mean, Mario Cristobal talks tough. He talks a great game, and it's like, okay, it is a process to build like, you can't just bring in a program and things are magically going to change like that. But I thought the offense would be a little bit better because Tyler Van Dyke was back. Yeah, he got injured, but it was like he had a really good year the year before and kind of came out of nowhere. And last year he didn't make those strides and he got hurt, but it just things just didn't seem to be in sync last year. I think Miami will emphasize defense and we'll see, but I really don't know what to make of Miami's team. I think their run game will be good, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're so somewhat of a long-standing enigma in that regard. So,
Yeah.
then at the University of Florida, Billy Napier, and I kind of have a theory about Napier, and I kind of want to compare it to Scott Frost, because coaches that are in the lower level, and the hot coach comes out, his team makes some noise, but they don't have like long-term success at these schools prior to making the jump. Coming from Louisiana to Florida is a monumental jump.
It's huge. And so far what you can credit Napier with is his organization, his ability to organize practices and have plans and this. He's got an enormous staff, his ability to get the resources. I mean, Florida was ready to give him the resources and the money because I think they saw what was happening, at Alabama, at Georgia, where they were getting passed. So like, he's very organized, he's very thoughtful and process driven, but that didn't really lead to success on the field. And I didn't feel like Anthony Richardson really took a step forward last year. He had some good games and he had some bad games. There was no real consistency. I think the Gators run game this year will be good. And we'll see about everything else. But yeah, no, you hire the hot coach and they may or may not work out. Like, Willie Taggart might be another example.
Great example.
He did great at South Florida, goes to Oregon for 1 year and that was it. And they were middling, they weren't like knock your socks off awesome. I'm not sure. I think he might have won 8 games. Maybe 8 games in his one season. I don't remember. And then, he comes to Florida State and just completely deflating, I mean, I guess the one coach that you can look at, but it's not even fair because it's Lane Kiffin going from FAU to Ole Miss. It's not even fair because Kiffin, coached at big time programs. But yeah, I mean, Napier coming from Louisiana, like you have to recruit really well. It's about the players that you get. How is he recruiting and what kind of patience does the program have? So if Florida is patient with him and he can get really good players, he's in good shape. But if he can't beat, Georgia, Florida State, Alabama in recruiting, then he's in trouble. And then we'll see what kind of coach he is. But you get the hot coach. Like Jim McElwain was the hot coach out of Colorado State.
Yeah. Another great example.
Didn't really work out either.
Yeah. You just kind of think that, if they had like 5 great seasons under their belt before they made the jump, to me, they might have a better chance. I don't know.
Yeah. Like you look at a guy like Lance Leipold from Buffalo, he takes over the Buffalo program. So Leipold came from, I think, maybe an FCS school or from Wisconsin, takes over Buffalo and, because Danny White hired him and turns Buffalo around. And then he goes to Kansas where, they're more focused on basketball, obviously, but he's done some decent things at Kansas. But it's about recruiting. It's about getting the best players that you can. So I think Florida and Napier has to win the battles in recruiting and in the transfer portal.
Yeah.
So
And of course, the big thing you brought up too was, you look at the war chests that Georgia and Alabama bring to the table, right? I mean, in the SEC, I mean, you better bring the bank.
yeah,
You don't have no chance.
absolutely, absolutely. Like Georgia's not going to give up its throne easily.
No.
Not at all. Not after being, the Florida Gators whipping boy for so long. No way.
Yeah.
It's a great fan base. They don't want to give up that throne. I think they feel it's them and Alabama, and that's it. That's their competition is Alabama. Ohio State and Michigan, yes, they're good. But I feel like it's Georgia's point of view might be it's them and Alabama. I could be wrong, but it's like Alabama's the gold standard, and now Georgia wants to take over that throne permanently.
Yeah, no question about it. Well, Jamie, I always enjoy talking football with you each and every year. You jump right off the 6 o'clock newscast to come on with me, and I greatly appreciate that very much. So please, shameless plugs for the work you're doing over there at News
Well,
6.
well, I appreciate being on with you, Jeff. I always enjoy it. I love how you let me talk about my Buffalo Bills. Yeah, no, we're getting ready for football season. We're gonna be hitting UCF hard as they go into the Big 12 in year one, and definitely doing all we can with Florida State and the Florida Gators. We've got our Saturday sports show is back after the whistle every Saturday night at 11:35, and you can catch me and Ryan Welch, Sunday to Saturday at 6 and 11. So yeah, it's a great time of year though. We're super fired up for football season.
Yeah, why not? It's the best time of the year.
It
No,
is.
no
It
question.
is.
Thank you,
Yes.
Jamie. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, Jeff.